The most unsettling truths in life are not the dangers outside, but the quiet storms hidden inside our own soul. And that brings us to a question many people spend their whole lives trying to answer. Why does one love story fade like it never existed, while another stays alive in the heart for years, maybe even decades? Why can a man burn with desire in one moment, yet hold on to the memory of a woman long after time, distance, and silence have taken over? It isn't simply because she was beautiful or charming. Real love doesn't begin with what he sees in you on the surface. It starts with what your presence awakens inside him, often without either of you realizing it. And here lies the quiet twist most people miss. The women who tirelessly try to please, who try so hard to be perfect, often become the easiest to forget. But the women who live honestly, who allow their light and their shadow to exist together, who carry a sense of depth and mystery, they stir something much older, much deeper. They awaken a place inside him he rarely touches. They activate parts of him that have been sleeping, waiting, hoping for someone who feels familiar to the deepest part of who he is. Hidden inside this inner world is the real reason a man falls in love. It is not the reason he will tell his friends. It is not the reason he may even admit to himself. But it is the truth his heart knows long before his mind catches up. In this video, we'll explore 5 deep insights that reveal why a man truly falls in love for only 2 real reasons. And along the way, we'll step into moments you've probably lived yourself. The marriage that slowly lost its fire, the unexpected romance that came late in life, or the repeated patterns you promised yourself you would never fall into again. Then we'll step back and see these experiences from a clearer angle, from the parts of ourselves we often avoid, from the masks we wear, from the pieces we hide even from ourselves, and from the small moments where we finally stop pretending and start becoming our whole selves. By the end, you won't just understand why a man fell in love with you, you'll also notice your own hidden layers, the parts you've pushed aside, the roles you've played to survive, and the inner strength that has always been waiting for a chance to breathe freely. So, let's begin. Because the first reason a man falls in love is almost never the reason people think. Before a man loves you, he is already in love with something within himself, and without even trying, you awaken that part of him. A man falls in love when you bring his hidden self to the surface. He may believe he chooses love with logic, preference, or careful thought, but the truth lies much deeper than that. Underneath his confidence, his success, his charm, and even his kindness, there are pieces of himself he doesn't see clearly or is afraid to face, longings he has tucked away, feelings he has silenced, fears he has locked behind a door inside his own chest. But when he meets a woman whose presence naturally resonates with those hidden places, something inside him stirs. Suddenly, he feels drawn to her with a force that confuses him. It doesn't feel like simple attraction, it feels like recognition, like she touched a part of him he forgot existed, a part that has been waiting for her. This is the first reason a man truly falls in love. Because you awaken a part of him he cannot unlock alone. Inside every man, there is a quiet companion made of the emotions he has pushed away over the years. The fears he hides, the softness he ignores, the cravings for comfort he never admits. And often, what we refuse to face within ourselves eventually shows up in our lives as fate, and love becomes the stage where those buried pieces are forced to the surface. Imagine a man who has built his identity on being strong. He avoids vulnerability. He minimizes sadness. He hides his tenderness under a shell of control. Then one day he meets a woman who is both gentle and brave. She laughs freely, she cries without apology, she accepts herself without pretending. In her, he sees, without realizing it, the emotions he buried long ago. And suddenly, he is drawn to her, maybe even obsessed, and he doesn't understand why. This is the quiet law that shapes most love stories before they even begin. A man loves for two reasons, and the first is because you bring out the part of him he can't face alone. To him, you are not just yourself, you become a mirror. Through you, he meets the parts of himself he abandoned, the softness, the desire, the darkness, the sensitivity, the strength he forgot, the ache he never expressed. Love becomes the journey where he chases the missing parts of his own soul. But this kind of attraction is both powerful and dangerous. When a man projects his inner world onto you, the relationship may feel electric, but also unstable, because sometimes he doesn't love the real woman in front of him. He loves the part of himself he has refused to own, and that is why some relationships feel intense yet end painfully. Sooner or later, the mirror cracks. He sees the real you, not the reflection of his own hidden pieces, and disappointment rushes in. Without awareness, the man who was once captivated may suddenly feel threatened, confused, or even resentful. The wisdom here is simple but life-changing. You don't need to shrink yourself or perform or hide your own complexity to hold a man's love. A woman who lives fully, her courage, her softness, her honesty, her fire, and even her flaws, touches the truth inside him naturally. That touch invites him to begin his own inner work, to stop running from the parts of himself he buried. When you stand in your own wholeness, you naturally become the spark for his transformation. So the first reason a man falls in love with you is not your beauty, not your perfect behavior, not even your sweetness. It's because you stir the part of him that has been living in silence. And when you live your truth without apology, you become unforgettable. Not because he wants you to complete him, but because something inside him recognizes you as the woman who woke up a truth he needed all along. Here, love becomes more than emotion. It becomes the moment when his unconscious finally opens its eyes and sees you. Every one of us moves through life wearing a kind of mask, a version of ourselves we show to the world. This mask isn't wrong or fake. It's something we build to survive, to be respected, to function in our daily responsibilities. But when it comes to love, that same mask can quietly turn into a barrier that keeps real closeness from getting in. Think about the man who has spent his whole life being the rock for everyone around him. To his children, he is steady. To his co-workers, he is strong and reliable. To society, he looks unshakable. Yet inside, he is often tired, unsure, and craving softness he hardly ever shows. His mask protects him, but it also hides the parts of him that ache to be understood. Most people will never see that hidden version of him, but when a woman comes into his life who responds not to the polished mask he presents, but to the human being underneath it, something rare and powerful begins. He feels exposed, yet strangely safe. For maybe the first time in years, he is not appreciated for his titles or achievements, but for his genuine self. And that feeling can open the door to one of the deepest reasons a man falls in love. The relief of finally being seen for who he truly is. This kind of connection isn't about performance. It isn't about rehearsed words or fitting the picture of success the world expects from him. It is about honesty, presence, and the courage to show up as a real person instead of a polished role. A relationship built on this kind of honesty may not look flashy from the outside, but it holds a strength that is hard to break. If a woman chooses to feed the mask, she may get admiration for a while, but it will fade. Eventually, the mask slips, and both sides feel let down. But when she stays genuine, unafraid to reveal her own flaws and complexity, she invites him to lower his defenses too. Slowly, the mask stops being necessary, and a man discovers that love isn't something he has to earn by proving himself, but something he can feel by simply being himself. This is one of the hidden parts of his inner world, and when you touch this side of him, love grows roots he can't fully explain. To be recognized beyond the mask is one of the most powerful needs any human has. When a man feels with you that he is enough without putting on a show, you become unforgettable. In that moment, love stops being about how things look on the outside and becomes the meeting of two souls brave enough to show their truth. There is also something else living deep inside every man, something many people never talk about, a kind of inner image of womanhood, a quiet, emotional blueprint he carries without even knowing it. It doesn't come only from culture or childhood. It is older, deeper, shaped by stories, dreams, instinct, and the subconscious. A man may go through many relationships in his life and still feel like something is missing. Each woman he meets brings something new, yet none seem to touch the center of his spirit. And then one day he meets a woman who feels strangely familiar, even though she is new to him. She is both comforting and intriguing at the same time. Something about her echoes a part of him he never put into words. Her presence feels like recognition, almost like he's known her long before this moment. That is this inner image waking up inside him. It is not a perfect picture. It shifts, it contradicts itself, it feels alive. At moments it is gentle and peaceful. At other times it is wild, bold, and stirring. It acts like a bridge between what he knows about himself and what he hasn't explored yet. And when a woman stirs this part of his inner world, she does more than attract him. She opens a door to his depths. Suddenly, the connection feels bigger than simple chemistry. It feels destined, not just the meeting of two people, but the meeting between his inner world and the outer world. He feels he has touched something timeless inside himself, something that feels bigger than logic, something that feels like fate. And while this can be beautiful, it can also be overwhelming, because a man can start confusing his own inner symbol with the woman standing in front of him. This is where idealizing, obsessing, or disappointment can happen, when reality doesn't match the dream in his head. But when both people grow in awareness, this deep inner pull becomes a blessing instead of a trap. It becomes a guide toward growth and wholeness rather than confusion. And for the woman, the message is simple. You do not need to act or reshape yourself into a fantasy. You don't have to play a role. You just need to be fully yourself, honest, layered, real. When you do that, you naturally awaken this deeper energy within him. You remind him of the depth he carries inside. You make him feel connected to something meaningful, something he cannot fully explain but deeply values. And that can become the reason he cherishes you beyond logic or appearance. Maybe you've felt this before. Maybe someone once awakened a part of you you didn't even know was sleeping. Maybe you've had a love that felt like it belonged to another lifetime. These inner worlds shape more of our relationships than we realize. And now we've walked through some of the hidden things happening inside a man, things he may not have words for but feels every day. These aren't just ideas. These are real forces that affect who he chooses, who he trusts, and who he commits to. When you awaken these parts of him, you reach places he can't access alone. And that is why he feels drawn to you in ways he can't logically explain. But now let me ask you something. After hearing all this, do you feel you understand him more deeply? Do you see how much more is inside him than confidence, charm, or status? Even with all this understanding, we are still only at the beginning. Because there is another reason, clearer, simpler, but just as powerful, that explains why a man falls in love. And if the first reasons are about what you awaken in him, the next reason is about what he sees clearly in you. It's so simple that people usually overlook it, yet it is the very thing that makes love stay. A man falls in love when he senses real wholeness in you. A man might admire beauty, enjoy charm, or appreciate kindness, but what he falls in love with in a deep and lasting way is something much more rare. It is the quiet strength of a woman who feels full in herself. She does not wait for love to complete her. She does not build her entire world around his presence. Instead, she carries a happiness that rises from inside her own being, a presence that glows whether he is beside her or far away. To him, this is almost impossible to resist, because in her sense of wholeness, he feels both safety and freedom, the freedom to drop his masks and be accepted exactly as he is. There is a kind of beauty that has nothing to do with age or perfection. It is the beauty of a woman who knows how to enjoy her own company. She hums to herself while cooking dinner. She smiles at a memory only she understands. She pauses to admire sunlight falling through a window. These small moments may appear ordinary, but they carry a quiet magnetism. They show a woman who is alive in her own world, a woman who does not need someone else to breathe life into her day. When a woman lives like this, she no longer waits for love to make her feel worthy. She already feels awake. Her days are not shaped by hoping someone will choose her. They are shaped by the meaning she creates from within. A man who meets her senses this almost instantly. He finds himself drawn not only to her smile or her gentle nature, but to everything she has built inside herself. Picture the difference between two women. One waits by the phone, her mood rising and falling with every message he sends or doesn't send. The other reads her book, waters her plants, learns something new, meets her friends for coffee, laughs at life. The first woman is consumed by the space someone else leaves. The second is already whole. And tell me honestly, which woman leaves the deeper imprint on a man's heart? Love cannot grow from emptiness. It grows in the presence of a soul that is already full. A man falls in love because he feels energy, not dependence. He admires a woman who can welcome him, but does not need him to fill the gaps inside her. Her independence is not cold. It is strength. It is steadiness. Every shared moment becomes meaningful because it is chosen, not required for survival. The danger comes when we forget this truth and allow love to become our only sense of identity. When all of our joy is placed in someone else's hands, even a small moment of distance can feel like rejection. Without a strong sense of self, love becomes fear, and connection slowly turns into control. But when a woman is grounded in who she is, she loves differently. She can give without losing herself. She can hurt without shattering. She can walk away without lowering her worth. This steadiness is deeply attractive. A man may notice many women, but he becomes devoted to the one whose joy cannot be taken away. She becomes a lighthouse in his chaos, steady and bright, because her light comes from inside her, not from his approval. The reason a man falls in love is the joy of a woman who has already chosen herself. She does not beg for attention, yet she receives plenty. She does not demand respect, yet people naturally give it to her. Her whole being quietly says, "I am complete, and I welcome you into my completeness." That kind of invitation feels natural, open, and alive. It pulls him closer without her needing to push or chase. Close your eyes for a moment and remember the last time someone gave you their real attention. No phone in their hand, no rushing, no judgment, just presence. How did it feel inside your chest? Maybe lighter, maybe safer, maybe like you could finally breathe without pretending. Now imagine the effect when a man receives this rare kind of attention. He may have everything, success, friends, family, but still feel unseen. Then one night he speaks, and instead of being corrected or brushed off, he is heard. A woman looks into his words and softly says, "I get you." That moment stays with him long after he walks away. Presence is not about saying the perfect sentence. It is about staying steady, even in silence. It is sitting with another person's pain without racing to fix it. It is listening without preparing the next reply. It is allowing the quiet moments to stretch long enough for something true to rise. In that kind of space, healing happens on its own. Psychology calls it emotional resonance, the way two people's feelings align when one is truly open. When someone is really present, the other person relaxes and shares pieces of themselves they've never spoken aloud. This is not performance. It is not a trick. It is simply the courage to stay. A man may forget gifts or jokes or words spoken in passing, but he will never forget the woman who made him feel safe enough to be real. But presence cannot be faked. Some people try. They nod. They repeat phrases. They act like they're listening. But real presence can't be copied because the heart knows the difference. True presence comes from a life built on honesty, from someone who has met her own fears, sat with her own quiet nights, faced her own longings, and learned to breathe through them. Without that inner grounding, presence becomes an act, and acts always crumble. For a woman, presence is not passive, it is active love. It says, "You matter here." It doesn't control, it doesn't cling, it doesn't demand, it welcomes. And strangely, that kind of welcome draws a man closer than any display of perfection. He might admire physical beauty, but he falls in love with presence, because in presence he finally feels at rest. When he is with you, he doesn't have to pretend. And when he leaves, the memory of being understood follows him. Presence becomes a soft echo in his mind, the reminder that with you, he touched something true. And here is the quiet twist. Presence is not something you give only to him. It begins with the way you treat yourself. The more you learn to sit with your own fears, your own silence, your own hopes, the easier it becomes to sit with his. Presence grows from within, and from there it transforms love into something lasting. We have walked through the inner world of what makes love meaningful and uncovered the deeper reasons a man falls in love. First, he falls because a woman awakens something inside him that he cannot reach alone. The parts of himself he hides, the things he longs to express, the pieces of himself he hopes to grow. Second, he falls because he sees in her a wholeness that mirrors his own desire to become whole. On this journey, we've seen that a man is not moved only by appearance. He is moved by what awakens in his soul. He falls for the woman who embraces all sides of herself, who does not shrink inward, who carries joy within, who offers genuine presence, and who invites him to grow simply by being who she is. These are not tricks. They are signs of authenticity, the natural beauty of a life lived from the inside out. When a woman chooses this path, she does not chase love. She becomes the kind of woman love finds naturally. She does not look for someone to fill her missing pieces. She shines because she already feels complete. And in that quiet, steady brightness, a man recognizes something he cannot ignore. He sees the reflection of his own longing to become whole. Maybe this is the real invitation of love, not to search in desperation, but to live so deeply in your own truth that love arrives without force. Your vision becomes clear the moment you look inward, the moment you choose yourself. And when you do, love is no longer an escape. It becomes a meeting of two souls who are finally ready. If these words touched you, I'd love for you to give this video a gentle like. Make sure to subscribe for more reflections, insights, and reminders to keep choosing yourself. Let's keep walking this path of growth, meaning, and inner freedom together.